Chapter 1 Tragic End. I was napping in my room. Suddenly, thick smoke jolted me awake, choking me. The fire spread with alarming speed, and the door was firmly locked, leaving me with less and less air to breathe. Desperate, I stumbled to the window, shouting for help while frantically calling Daniel. Again and again until finally he answered. "Emma, when will you stop?" His voice dripped with irritation. "The house is on fire. I've called the police. Come back and unlock the door," I shouted with every ounce of strength, panic rising within me. He laughed coldly. "Emma, I'm busy. Stop bothering me." His words pierced through me like a knife. "Daniel, you..." Cough, cough. I trembled with rage, inhaling a mouthful of acrid smoke that sent me into a coughing fit. "Emma, you're such an actress. Why don't you go to Hollywood? Honey, it hurts. Do you think the baby is coming?" A familiar, weak voice suddenly broke through the haze on the other end. "Sarah, push a little harder. I can see the baby's head." "Don't worry, dear. I'm right here with you." The woman, Sarah, was his assistant. She had taken a leave last month to rest during her pregnancy. He called her, "Dear?" "Daniel." My mind blanked, but instinct took over and I screamed, "Emma, if you want to die, just hurry up and do it." Smash. He hung up, the sound crashing in my ears like a boulder, shattering my world. Looking up, thick black smoke enveloped the room. Flames danced menacingly, and scorching heat surged toward me. Tears streamed down my face as I gasped for breath. From the 24th floor, jumping would mean certain tragedy. The smoke-filled room felt like an endless abyss swallowing me whole. "Congratulations, a 7-pound 6-ounce baby boy. Dear, you did great. I love you." Daniel's phone, discarded on the other end, echoed with joy. His important matter? Was it being with his mistress for the birth of their child? Dear wife. But I was his legitimate wife. In that moment, my heart withered. My skin began to burn, my whole body felt aflame. The flames closed in, death creeping nearer, and my consciousness began to fade. I fought to call for help, but as soon as I opened my mouth, the smoke rushed in, silencing me completely. My legs buckled and I collapsed into the inferno. Chapter 2 Back to Pregnancy. "Congratulations, you're 8 weeks pregnant." The doctor glanced at the report and smiled at us. A kiss suddenly landed on my cheek. "Honey, we're having a baby." Daniel's excited voice filled my ear as he embraced me tightly. I looked around, feeling somewhat dazed. Then I reached out to touch my belly. 8 weeks pregnant. It was the perfect surprise for our second wedding anniversary. Exactly like my previous life. In my past, Daniel's company was finally thriving, my period was late, and he canceled an important meeting to take me to the hospital for a checkup. When I met Daniel, he had nothing. I willingly shared a basement with him, starting from scratch. My parents believed he wasn't good enough for me, but they respected my choice. Even before we married, they allowed him into the family business, fully nurturing his potential. He never let me down. He worked hard and treated me like a treasure in our daily lives. During that time, I was immersed in the sweetness he created for me. Suppressing my nausea, I forced a smile, echoing my past happiness. "We're having a baby." As we left the doctor's office, Daniel led me straight to the parking lot. I suddenly stopped. "Daniel, I'm thirsty. Can we buy some water first?" His expression wavered with uncertainty. "Emma, the store is a bit far from here. Why don't you wait in the car?" In my past life, he used work as an excuse to leave, sending his assistant to drive me home. I suspected he wanted to meet with Sarah. "I don't want to be alone." Not yet ready to reveal his true nature, Daniel naturally complied. He took my hand, gently reminding me, "Emma, watch your step." As soon as we entered the store, I spotted Sarah standing at the entrance, scanning the area. In my past life, I only heard she married a good man who adored her. She had been allowed to take unpaid leave early in her pregnancy and could choose to return to work at her leisure. Seeing her up close today, she clearly had a talent for attracting men. Even late in her pregnancy, she wore heavy makeup and dressed exquisitely. Compared to my bare face, she radiated femininity. Upon seeing me, Sarah's smile faltered for a moment before she forced it back in place. "Mrs. Smith, long time no see. I'm here for a checkup. Are you feeling unwell?" Unintentionally, she emphasized her belly. The arm around my waist suddenly loosened. In truth, Daniel didn't genuinely want this unexpected pregnancy. He wouldn't be happy about it. Feigning innocence, I shared my joy with Sarah. Daniel is here with me for a checkup. Sarah instinctively glanced at Daniel, her unease evident. Is that so? Mr. Smith is very good to you. Thank you. Daniel's expression remained neutral as he put his arm around my waist again. Emma, you two chat. I'll go get you some water. Seizing the moment, Sarah replied. Mrs. Smith, my checkup is about to start. Let's talk another day. As soon as she left, Daniel's phone rang. Using the excuse of getting water, he walked to the farthest aisle from me. His guilty glances and lowered voice betrayed his wariness towards me. But in my past life I had trusted him completely. Soon he returned looking anxious. Emma, there's an issue at the construction site. I need to handle it immediately. I'll have my assistant drive you home. As always, I was understanding and accommodating. Work is important. You go ahead. No need to bother John. I'll just take a cab from the hospital entrance. I'll come back as soon as I can. I stopped him. Wait. I handed him the water he had bought for me. Don't rush and get upset. Drink some water. I found the water he bought unappealing. Emma, you're so good to me. I love you so much. As soon as Daniel left, I threw up. It wasn't morning sickness. It was the disgust brought on by his words. Chapter 3. Seeing it for myself. I didn't take a cab and leave. Instead, I returned to the obstetrics department. Sure enough, there was Daniel holding Sarah, whispering sweetly to her. He looked so happy. In that moment, as he embraced Sarah, he treated her like a precious gem. Sarah, comforted by him, wore a blissful smile. If I were a passerby, I might have thought they were a very happy family. In my previous life, after securing a project, he began planning how to get rid of me to be openly with his true love. He deceived me with his tenderness, drugged me into unconsciousness, then set a fire to burn me alive. He even burned our barely formed child along with me. On that same day, he joyfully became a father. I didn't angrily step forward to expose everything. Instead, I captured all the evidence. Daniel, this lifetime will settle our scores slowly. Chapter 4. Hypocrisy. Daniel returned home just in time for dinner. Before coming back, he called to ask if I had any cravings. I told him I felt nauseous and couldn't eat. He still brought home a bunch of nutritious meals, urging me to eat. Emma, they say the first 3 months are crucial. You need to eat well for the baby to develop properly. He thoughtfully spooned some food toward my mouth. Come on, open up. In my previous life, his gentle care was why I chose him against all odds. Now looking at him, every tender glance and gesture filled me with disgust. Ugh! I didn't swallow a bite and threw up right into the bowl. Some of the soup splashed onto his hand. Instinctively, he put down the bowl and rushed to the bathroom, disgusted. After cleaning up, he remembered me and donned his fake smile. He picked up a napkin but didn't wipe me. He just handed it to me and helped me up. Emma, are you feeling better? Go wash up. You'll feel more comfortable. I had thrown up on purpose, not wanting to put on a show with him. Throwing up gave me a legitimate excuse to wash up and rest. About an hour later, he came in. He said he had made some light porridge for me. But I had clearly heard the doorbell ring earlier. It was just a food delivery. This time I didn't throw up because I was genuinely hungry. Emma, I looked it up. Getting some fresh air can help with nausea. How about I take you hiking tomorrow? Sure. I smiled and agreed, as easy to please as ever. He held me close. Emma, get some sleep. I was a bit worried he might use the hike to get rid of me, but then I remembered the project wasn't in his hands yet. He wouldn't be that hasty. The next day, after descending from the mountain, he took me to a fancy restaurant. Seizing the good mood, he brought it up. Emma, there's something I'd like to discuss. Can we ask Dad to help with the Juheng project? The company is stable now, but to go public, we need a major project to boost us. The company was established by Daniel and me to prove he could give me a happy life. My parents valued his hard work and had given us many projects after the company was founded. Juheng was a significant project, and with our current company size, we weren't qualified to bid for it. If we succeeded, the company would advance several levels, but giving him the project meant my father would have to invest and support it fully. If it failed, it would be a total loss. In my previous life, I agreed without hesitation and even persuaded my father to invest. It only fattened up this ungrateful wolf. This time I nodded again. Okay. I haven't been home for a while. I'll go visit my parents and secure this project. Daniel couldn't hide his satisfaction. Emma, marrying you is the best thing that ever happened to me. I joked. Then you'd better treat me well and never betray me. I swear. He raised his hand looking serious. If I betray you, may I meet a terrible fate. I sneered inwardly. Why talk about such grim things? Let's eat. Daniel immediately put his hand down, peeled a shrimp for me, and arranged it in a heart shape without missing a beat. Emma, this is the shape of my love for you. I threw up again. He really knew how to make me nauseous. Chapter 5. Acting according to plan. After returning home, I quickly packed my things and went back to my parents' house. I declined Daniel's offer to drive me. I took a cab straight to the hospital for the procedure. When I woke up, I realized I had lost my first child. My heart ached, but I didn't regret it. Rather than being used as a pawn by Daniel, I chose to take control and let go on my own terms. After the procedure, I called my mom. Hearing her voice made me break down in tears. Emma, what's wrong? Mom immediately sensed something was off, her tone turning serious. Did Daniel bully you? Mom! She rushed to the hospital to pick me up, only to discover what had happened. She was shocked. Why? In my parents' eyes, Daniel had always been considerate and loving. Amidst the bustle of the hospital, it was hard to explain everything. Mom, I'll tell you everything when we get home. As we left the ward, we bumped into someone. It was Sarah. She approached us. Mrs. Smith, what a coincidence. Then with a concerned look, she asked, Are you feeling unwell? I was the wife. She was the mistress. Since she pretended not to know anything and acted friendly, I decided to respond in kind. I'm just here with my mom for a checkup. I glanced at her belly, forcing a smile. How far along are you? Ready to give birth soon. She caressed her stomach with a loving expression. Just a bit over 5 months, still some time to go. I looked at her belly, feigning sadness. You're so enviable, not only beautiful but also with such a good husband. Even getting pregnant has been so easy for you. Sigh, we've been married for 2 years, and I still haven't had any luck. A flash of smugness crossed Sarah's eyes, though she spoke with feigned concern. Mrs. Smith, to be honest, I consulted a renowned doctor who helped me get pregnant on my first try. If you need, I can introduce you. I'm just at home waiting to give birth and getting a bit bored. In my past life, I thought she was kind-hearted and considered her a good friend. Little did I know, her approach was simply to aid Daniel in plotting my downfall. The game has just begun. For now, I'll play along with her. Thank you so much. That would be great. I won't hold you up any longer today. My mom's appointment is soon. Sarah could barely contain her triumphant smile. Mrs. Smith, feel free to call me anytime you need. My mom was about to say something, but I quickly pulled her toward the parking lot. Once in the car, my mom was puzzled, ready to ask me something. She turned and saw Sarah fall into a man's arms. The man held her as they walked into the hospital. Emma, is that Daniel? Yes. My mom's face flushed with anger. No wonder you said you were here for my checkup. That woman is ruining your marriage. She rolled up her sleeves, ready to confront them. I quickly grabbed her. Mom, don't. I've known for a while. You knew and did nothing? My mom was frantic. You're too soft-hearted to handle this. I terminated the pregnancy because I didn't want to be a pawn in his game. I want to deal with those two myself. I had already done my research. Sarah and Daniel had been together since high school. From the start, he approached me for my family background. He never truly loved me. Daniel is despicable. He's been playing our family for fools and dared to hurt my daughter. I won't let him get away with this. After dinner, we held a family meeting. Dad and my brother were furious, ready to confront Daniel even before finishing their meal. I quickly held them back. Dad, there's no rush. We need to plan this carefully. Dad, red-faced with rage, said. He's not just cheating. He's after our projects. What's next, trying to take over the whole company? My brother spoke sharply. He wants to tackle this big project. knowing we have to support him with funds and resources. Once it succeeds, he'll kick you out. That scoundrel thinks he can mess with our family. I calmed them down and slowly laid out my plan. Dad nodded. We'll do as Emma says. Family is your strongest support. Whatever you need, we're with you. Not long after, Daniel called. He eagerly asked about the project. I told him Dad had agreed. He needed to prepare the proposal and go through the proper channels to compete for it. He frowned, displeased. It's a family project. Can't Dad just make it happen without the formalities? I coldly replied. How do we explain this to the shareholders without following procedures? Dad can't just act unilaterally. He quickly changed his tone. You're right, honey. I got a bit carried away. I took the opportunity to say I wanted to stay with my parents for a while. He immediately agreed. He urged me to spend quality time with my parents and take care of myself, assuring me he'd handle everything at the company. Chapter 6. A Plan for Murder. I stayed at my parents' house. Daniel didn't visit even once. Instead, Sarah reached out, saying she was bored and could keep me company anytime. I welcomed the distraction and invited her to go shopping. At the baby store, Sarah asked my opinion on every piece of baby clothing she picked up. Each time I smiled and said it looked great. But inside my heart was breaking. Her child would be born safely. Mine, however, had to be terminated. What a despicable couple. Acting? Who can't do that? If she wanted to get close to me, I'd play the part of a friendly friend. When we left, I bought a stroller as a gift for Sarah's baby. She quickly protested. Mrs. Smith, this gift is too extravagant. I can't accept it. This is just a little something for the baby. You can't refuse, I insisted. Eventually, Sarah relented. From then on, she often invited me to go shopping. Our relationship gradually morphed into that of close friends. Meanwhile, Daniel was busy preparing the proposal. He even had the audacity to bring Sarah to our home for intimate moments. Little did he know, I had set up surveillance in advance. I captured evidence of their every move. Whenever Sarah met with me, she would report back to Daniel, and he would generously transfer money to her, saying, "Don't be stingy. Spend freely, as long as you can get closer to her." Sarah was puzzled. Honey, what's the point of getting close to her? Know your enemy and know yourself, and you can win every battle without danger. With your help, I can make my move more easily. They plotted how to make me disappear naturally. To avoid leaving evidence, he even handwrote notes on various crime cases he found online. From drowning to pushing someone off a cliff, to falling from a building, he considered it all. After much discussion, they decided to have me die in a fire. House fire fatalities are reported every year. It wouldn't raise any suspicions. Sarah suggested he take out insurance on me to gain even more money. Daniel rejected the idea. That would be too obvious. The police would be suspicious. In my previous life, this was how I was plotted against and destroyed. Chapter 7. Having Sarah do it. As the bidding day approached, Daniel arrived at my parents' house with a collection of expensive supplements to take me back. Since I had already discussed everything with my parents, they treated Daniel as usual, showing no signs of anything amiss. During dinner, Daniel brought up the project. Dad, thank you for supporting me all the way. I appreciate that you didn't hesitate to help with this project. I will work hard to grow the company and take good care of Emma to repay your trust. My dad raised his glass and replied calmly, We're family. As long as you treat Emma well, that's all that matters. I returned home with Daniel. In my previous life, it was on this very day. He had personally cooked a Western meal to celebrate. He had slipped sleeping pills into the mushroom soup and lit a scent that made one drowsy. When I woke up, I was surrounded by flames. This time, I didn't even touch the bowl and rushed to the bathroom, covering my mouth to vomit. After throwing up, I pretended to feel weak. I can't eat. I need to lie down. He didn't give up and brought the mushroom soup over again. Emma, you need to eat something, or the baby won't get any nutrition. Ugh. I rushed back to dry heave again. Seeing him again, I showed a hint of annoyance. I told you I can't eat right now. Seeing my anger, he quickly put down the soup and tried to soothe me. I'm sorry. Let me help you to bed. After helping me lie down, he said, You rest for a while. Call me if you get hungry. About half an hour later, seeing my eyes closed, he quietly left the room. I immediately turned on my phone to check the surveillance. He called Sarah, saying he had failed and that I hadn't eaten a thing at lunch, asking her to come over in the afternoon. Sarah was a bit surprised. "Do you want me to do it?" Daniel, suppressing his impatience, replied, "She hasn't eaten anything. She will definitely eat something at dinner. I'll give you the drug later. Once she's asleep, all you need to do is pour oil on the furniture and curtains and light an aromatic candle." "Honey, I'm scared." Daniel continued to reassure her. "House fires happen every year. A candle falling and causing a fire won't make anyone suspect a pregnant woman." He kept coaxing Sarah. "Only when Emma is gone can I rightfully take over the company. Our child will then have a bright future." With those words, Sarah's last bit of hesitation turned into determination. "Honey, I'll do whatever you say. I won't let you down." Chapter 8, Sarah is dead. When Daniel came back in, he looked hurried. "Emma, there's something at the office I need to handle. I'll be back soon." Holding my head, I feigned discomfort. "Take your time. I'm going to rest." He hadn't been gone long when Sarah called to invite me shopping. I mentioned feeling unwell and not wanting to go out. She immediately offered to come over since she had nothing else to do. Of course I agreed. If she didn't come, this act couldn't proceed. Soon, Sarah arrived with bags in hand to check on me. I courteously insisted she stay for dinner. She eagerly accepted. I ordered takeout for dinner. When the delivery arrived, Sarah took it upon herself to arrange everything in the kitchen. She told me to rest, and she would call me when everything was ready. "Thank you so much." I watched her head to the kitchen, my face showing gratitude. At the dinner table, Sarah kept chatting about mundane topics. She served me some soup, saying it would nourish my body, helping me to conceive naturally. "I prefer using a red spoon. Let me get it." I stood up but looked weak. She quickly supported me. "Mrs. Smith, don't move. I'll get it." When she returned, I had already switched the soup bowls. At the table, I asked about various pregnancy tips while sipping my soup. Seeing me drink, she spoke animatedly and quickly finished her own bowl. After dinner, I claimed to feel dizzy and wanted to lie down. She eagerly helped me to the bedroom, pretending to be concerned while waiting for the drug to take effect so I'd sleep deeply. Once I smelled the oil filling the room, I got up and walked out. Sarah was pouring oil on the floor. I coldly confronted her. "What are you doing?" She jumped, startled, and stammered nervously. Why are you awake?" I sneered. "If I hadn't woken up, would you have burned me alive?" Her hand trembled, dropping the oil can, which rolled to my feet. I picked it up. "Do I need to repeat your and Daniel's plan word for word?" She backed away in panic. "I don't know what you're talking about." I advanced towards her. "You must really love Daniel, willing to be a murderer for him." I raised my hand, picking up the aromatic candle she was about to use next. I smiled at her. "If the candle isn't set properly, a gust of wind could knock it over and start a fire. Be careful." Sarah reached out to grab it, but I swiftly moved it away. Panic flickered in her eyes. "Give me the candle." To burn me alive? Sarah was scared now. She dropped the act. She yelled at me. "Give me the candle." Failing to snatch it, she furiously pushed me. I fell backward, and the candle holder toppled onto the dining table. The flames hit the oil on the floor, igniting instantly. Sarah tried to flee to the door but suddenly collapsed, her legs giving out. Struggling to stand, she fell heavily again. I stepped over her and walked towards the door. Why? She looked stunned, unable to finish her sentence. I completed it for her. "Why didn't the soup knock me out, right?" Realization dawned on Sarah, and she erupted in anger. "You purposely sent me away." The fire spread quickly, and Sarah screamed in terror. She begged me. "Please save me. You and Daniel drugged me to burn me alive. I drank the soup too. How can I save you? Ask Daniel to save you." She still tried to deny. "I don't know what you're talking about. Don't accuse me." I pulled out my phone. "If I hadn't installed surveillance, you would have burned me alive today. Even now, you won't admit it." The flames grew closer, and she writhed in pain from the heat. Her pupils dilated with fear. "Please, for the sake of the baby, save me." The baby is innocent. And what about my baby? I clutched my stomach. If I hadn't known about your plot and terminated my pregnancy, my baby would have burned alive too. Daniel wouldn't tell Sarah about my pregnancy to avoid complications. Now, knowing I had an abortion, Sarah panicked even more. She desperately begged me to spare her. You didn't think about today when you plotted against us. Sarah was terrified. She frantically tried to call Daniel but couldn't get through. I mocked her. In such an important moment, Daniel hasn't contacted you for a while, has he? Her eyes filled with fear as she repeatedly dialed. Don't bother. There's a signal jammer. She gave up, desperately pleading. If you save me, I'll turn myself in. I looked at her coldly and said heartlessly, too late. You and Daniel will both pay for my poor baby. The fire roared. Until Sarah was fully engulfed by the flames, I called the fire department. Then I fainted at the door. When the firefighters arrived, I was outside. My phone screen still showed the emergency call. I was saved, but Sarah was dead. Chapter 9. No witnesses left. The house was reduced to ashes. When I woke up, I gave my statement at the hospital. I told the police that Sarah was a company assistant currently on maternity leave. On the day of the fire, she invited me to go shopping, but I wasn't feeling well and declined. She insisted on coming over to check on me. While she was there, she offered to cook. I didn't have much appetite, so I lay down for a bit and fell into a daze. When I heard her screaming for help, I rushed out of the bedroom to find the dining room already on fire. I ran outside, but Sarah collapsed suddenly. I tried to pull her out, but she grabbed me, and as the fire grew, I had to escape and call the police. I wasn't sure why I fainted at the door. The police found traces of sleeping pills in both our systems and remnants of the drug in Sarah's clothes. After investigating us both, they initially concluded the fire was deliberate. When the officer told me about Sarah's and Daniel's true relationship, his eyes were filled with sympathy. I pretended to be stunned for a long time before nodding numbly. Daniel arrived just in time to see this scene. He froze, not knowing what to do. The officer, clearly irritated, told him, "We can't reach the deceased's family. You need to contact them so they can handle the arrangements." Sarah was just Daniel's lover. He had no right to handle her body. Hearing that Sarah was dead, Daniel nearly fell over. After regaining his balance, his first move was to distance himself. We are deeply saddened by this incident. As her supervisor, I will ensure her affairs are properly managed. I scoffed. She was pregnant with your child. Just a supervisor. Daniel couldn't sit still and immediately started to defend himself. Emma, it's just a work relationship between us. The police officer's expression tightened. Mr. Smith, are you questioning our professionalism? Daniel's face became a palette of colors, unable to form a complete sentence. He wanted no evidence left against him. But Sarah had died from asphyxiation, not burned to ashes. I had no interest in playing along with him. Daniel, handle your lover's posthumous affairs, and then we'll properly address our issues. Chapter 10 Counterattack. After leaving the police station, I immediately sought out a lawyer. I was going to divorce Daniel and leave him with nothing. My dad promptly cut off his project. The legal department also sent him a legal notice, demanding the return of all loans within 7 days. Daniel, unable to handle Sarah's aftermath, rushed to my parents' house to find me. I had the security guards throw him out. He called me. Emma, I shouldn't have kept it from you. Now that Sarah and the baby are gone, can you forgive me for the sake of our child? Daniel, without my family's support, you'd still be a poor boy from the mountains. You cheated during our marriage and expect me to bear your child? The child has nothing to do with you. You're scum, unworthy of being a father. After all we've been through, must it end like this? Divorce, leave with nothing, and don't bother me again. I declared firmly. Fine, but don't blame me for being ruthless. He snapped and hung up. I calmly had the PR team leak the news that Daniel was unfaithful in the marriage and that I, the heiress of the Jiang family, insisted on divorce. The business community knew Daniel was a social climber. Now, with his infidelity exposed, he was destined to be kicked out. The news met with widespread approval, with everyone cheering me on to let Daniel rot in the mountains. Daniel, being the petty man he is, would definitely retaliate. I was prepared for his counterattack. 3 days passed with no word from Daniel. I thought maybe he had some conscience and was handling Sarah's affairs first. But my assistant informed me Daniel was anything but decent. He had preemptively claimed Sarah climbed into his bed for money and tried to replace me, causing our divorce. He then casually gave some money to Sarah's family to get rid of them. A week later, my assistant forwarded me a video and immediately called. "Emma, you're trending." I opened the video to see that Daniel had posted it a week ago. In the video, he publicly accused me of using power to commit murder. He admitted to cheating but then tearfully told a love story about him and Sarah. In his narrative, they were deeply in love, and I was the intruder who used my family's influence to force him to break up with her and marry me. According to his account, after discovering Sarah post-marriage, I pretended to befriend her, invited her over for dinner, and deliberately set a fire to ruin her and her midterm pregnancy. He claimed I used my power to frame Sarah as the culprit. The video quickly went viral, with Daniel spending money to boost its reach. People were outraged that I had allegedly killed a pregnant woman and walked away unscathed. The video dominated the trending lists overnight, with even celebrities joining the call for justice. I quickly searched online. Sure enough, the top trending topics were all about me. Hashtag heiress abusing power hashtag. Hashtag friends with heiress at your own risk hashtag. The video's comment section was filled with people tagging law enforcement and media outlets, cursing me. Jiang family uses the money earned from us to bribe officials for their daughter to commit murder. Check the Jiang family for tax evasion to fund Emma Jiang's hired killers. Emma Jiang is a snake-hearted woman who even kills unborn babies. She deserves the worst fate. Emma Jiang should be hit by a car. Getting hit by a car is too easy. She should be killed and dismembered. Amid the curses and threats, a new trending topic emerged. Hashtag Emma Jiang go die hashtag. The heat remained high, even affecting Jiang Corp's stock price. Reporters surrounded our company, asking my dad if we were abusing power. Seeing the public siding with him, Daniel took his act further, doing a live stream where he cried over his poor Sarah. He also mourned their unborn child. My brother called angrily, "Daniel is a scumbag trying to destroy you." I calmly reassured him, "Don't worry, bro. The higher he climbs, the harder he'll fall. I've got a backup plan." Public opinion is powerful. I initially planned to let Daniel have his way for a while, but the situation escalated so quickly that the officer who handled our case directly contacted me. Knowing the full story, he sounded helpless. "This situation is bad for you. Citizens are pressuring us. If you don't resolve this, we'll have to reopen the case as a criminal investigation." I asked, "Doesn't the evidence show I'm the victim?" The officer replied wearily, "Miss Jiang, we are the judiciary and the case was closed. Reopening it means starting the process all over again." I understand. Reopening the case would mean going through the police process again. I'll handle this quickly and not trouble the police. Daniel, I initially showed some mercy, giving you time to handle Sarah's affairs. Since you're determined to bury me, I won't sit idly by. I gathered the collected evidence. Chapter 11. Clearing my name. The officer was taken aback when he saw me. "Miss Jiang, we discussed this clearly over the phone yesterday. This matter." "Officer, I want to file a report." The officer was stunned. "File a report? My husband conspired with his lover to kill me." The officer was taken aback. "Wasn't it Sarah acting on her own to climb the social ladder?" I handed him a flash drive. "This is the surveillance footage from my home. I found it while clearing out the memory. Please take a look." The video contained recordings of Daniel calling Sarah, detailing every step of their murder plan. Given the details from the fire investigation, even though Daniel wasn't at the crime scene, he couldn't escape responsibility. I raised a concern. "Officer, can you trace the source of the sleeping pills? Sarah, being pregnant, shouldn't have been able to obtain such drugs." With my evidence, the case of arson escalated to conspiracy to commit murder. The police agreed to investigate. As I suspected, the pills were bought by Daniel. That day, he met with Sarah, and shortly after, I received her call about coming to my house. When the police tracked Daniel's IP address to make the arrest, he was in the middle of a tear-filled live stream. His live audience had swelled to over 200,000. As the police took him away, the comments exploded. They accused me of using my influence to orchestrate his arrest. The uproar was immense. Concerned citizens organized to demand an explanation from the authorities. At that moment, I started a live stream using the company's account. Thanks to the popularity Daniel had brought me, within 5 minutes my live stream had over 50,000 viewers. Without wasting words, I played the audio recordings, removing only the faces but leaving the conversation intact. Thanks to the heartfelt discussions between the despicable couple, their plans to kill me were filled with loving tones, making the impact even more explosive. Unlike Daniel's tearful act, I remained calm and released a second piece of evidence, the documents confirming Daniel's project nomination. I also showed how he had used my family's resources over the years. Finally, with a sorrowful expression, I said, "A while ago, when he and Sarah conspired to murder me, the police already had evidence. I wanted to keep family scandals private and merely sought a divorce. But he turned things upside down for his own gain." The comments went wild. Top-tier plot twist. From a loving husband to a scumbag, defended him all this time, only to find out he's the ultimate social climber, using his wife's resources to become successful, then plotting murder. "Emma, you're so pitiful. Emma, we misjudged you. We're sorry." Public opinion shifted, with people starting to support me. Some even pitied and sympathized with me. But none of that mattered. I stood up and bowed. "Thank you for watching this live broadcast. This is my first and last response to this issue. I trust the police will clear my name." Chapter 12, the final chapter. Daniel, still unrepentant, tried to shift all blame onto Sarah. It wasn't until the police showed him the video from my home that he stopped his denials. With concrete evidence of Daniel orchestrating arson and attempted murder, he was sent to prison. Before his sentencing, he asked to see me through his lawyer. When he saw me, he immediately knelt. Through the glass, he looked at me pitifully. "Emma, I was wrong. For the sake of our child, can you forgive me?" Daniel finally remembered we had a child together. I was here today to tell him exactly that. I took out the medical report and placed it against the glass. Seeing it, his face turned ashen. I smiled. "Daniel, I've already died once. I won't give you another chance to use our child to hurt me. Soon, you'll join my child in the afterlife." His hope shattered, he pleaded. "Emma, I was momentarily blinded. Give me another chance and I'll turn over a new leaf." Now that he saw his fate, he was finally afraid. I felt a smirk of satisfaction. Murderers must pay with their lives. Go to hell and reunite with Sarah there. Daniel suddenly stood up, his eyes bloodshot. "Emma, do you know why I never loved you? It's because of your high and mighty attitude. Sarah was gentle and considerate, always caring for me. Were you ever as kind as she was?" Daniel continued his tirade. "You treated me like a servant. Do you see any boss who has to serve his wife every day after work?" I laughed. "You had no money or ability. What else did I want from you besides being considerate? Your face. There might not be mirrors in prison, but there's always a toilet. Look at yourself and see what you've become." Daniel snapped. "Emma, I'll kill you." He repeatedly swung his fists at me, the handcuffs clanging sharply against the glass. The guards quickly restrained him. I left him with parting words. "For the sake of our marriage, I'll ensure your body is taken care of. Given your deep love for Sarah, I'll bury the three of you together." Daniel was sentenced to death. This time I survived. After his execution, I kept my promise, burying him next to Sarah. May they spend eternity together in hell, never returning to pollute the world again.